I thought it was just a regular movie night, but that kiss changed us forever. I laughed when she offered popcorn like it was a peace treaty. I don't bite, she said, eyes gleaming. That was a lie. She bit, and not just popcorn. That night was supposed to be forgettable. Just two friends watching a cheesy horror flick on a Friday, no drama, no pressure, no heartache. But when our lips touched, something unraveled between us so quietly, it screamed. Her name was Camila. We met freshman year during orientation at NYU, both majoring in film studies, both convinced we'd end up directing Oscar-winning masterpieces before 30. We bonded instantly, two sarcastic cinephiles armed with iced coffee, tattoos we regretted, and too many opinions about Tarantino. She was the kind of girl who wore eyeliner like war paint and called every cat she saw, sir. I adored her, platonically. At least, I thought I did. We became inseparable. Study sessions turned into late-night ramen runs, then to weekend brunches with bottomless mimosas and bottomless confessions. I told her things I'd never told anyone about my childhood, my dad's silence when I came out as bi, my fear that I was too much and not enough all at once. She never judged. Never pulled away. Until the night she did. It was pouring that Friday, the kind of rain that made the city feel smaller, quieter, like the world was telling you to stay inside and feel something. Camila showed up drenched, her hair sticking to her neck, hoodie soaked through. She looked like chaos and comfort at the same time. I brought red vines and trauma, she said, plopping on my couch. We watched The Babadook. Fitting. Somewhere between the jump scares and the strange sexual tension of a possessed mother, our hands touched accidentally, like every cliché. But she didn't pull away. I didn't either. Then, in one slow-motion second, she turned to me. Her eyes asked something terrifying. I answered. Our lips met. It wasn't fireworks. It wasn't violins. It was something deeper, like falling and realizing you'd wanted to fall for a long time. When we pulled apart, the room felt smaller. My heart was a riot in my chest. Camila blinked at me once. Then again. And then she left. No words. No explanation. Just the door clicking shut and the sound of rain like applause outside. The days after were worse than silence. She didn't reply to my texts. Didn't show up to class. Didn't even like the meme I sent her, and that was our love language. I felt sick. Had I misread it? Pushed her into something she didn't want? Was the kiss just curiosity? A mistake? But then came Thursday. I was at the campus cafe, fidgeting with my tea, spiraling through every possible way to hate myself more efficiently, when she walked in. Hair pulled back. No makeup. Eyes red. She sat across from me and said, "I kissed you because I wanted to. I ran because I panicked. I'm sorry." I didn't say anything. Just waited. She swallowed. It wasn't just the kiss. It was everything behind it. I've never felt that with a girl before. Never let myself. A pause. I think I'm queer. I think I've always known. But it was easier pretending I didn't. And then you with your stupid laugh and your dumb opinions about Wes Anderson, you made it impossible. That broke me. We talked for hours. About fear, about family, about how identity isn't a switch you flip, but a maze you navigate with scraped knees and trembling hands. That night didn't end with another kiss. It ended with her falling asleep on my shoulder, breathing soft, like the calm after a storm. Now it's been 6 months. We're still figuring things out. She still says she's not ready to label herself, and I respect that. We're not girlfriends. Not just friends either. Something in between, something real. We've kissed since then. Many times. Some gentle. Some messy. Some with tears in our eyes because the world still isn't always kind. But that first kiss, the one I thought would ruin us, turned out to be the beginning of something we didn't know we were brave enough to want. And every time the lights go down in a theater, and she reaches for my hand like it's a habit now, I remember that night. That fear. That lightning bolt moment of becoming. I thought it was just a regular movie night. But that kiss changed us forever. Camila started spending more nights at my apartment. Not in the romantic, candlelit dinner kind of way, at least not yet, but in the quiet, comforting way people do when they're building a home together without realizing it. She brought her favorite hoodie, which somehow ended up on the back of my desk chair more than on her body. She left half-drunk coffee mugs around the place and had a very specific way of arranging her shoes by the door. I didn't complain. Every little piece of her presence felt like permission to hope. But with that hope came fear. She still hadn't told anyone. Her family back in Miami was conservative, Catholic, and terrifyingly traditional. Her mother once told her, half joking, that she'd rather have a daughter who dated convicts than girls. And her father? He'd barely tolerated her when she pierced her nose. So Camila stayed closeted. Publicly, we were just roommates. During the weekends she stayed over. Besties, when we held hands under the table at brunch. Study partners, when I kissed her cheek goodbye before class and she scanned the hall to make sure no one saw. I told myself it was enough. That I could wait. That her journey was hers and mine was mine. But sometimes it hurt. One Saturday night, we were curled up watching Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Yes, I know, ironic when she kissed me gently, then pulled away like she just remembered gravity existed. Do you ever wish I were different? She asked suddenly. I blinked. What do you mean? Braver. More. Out. Like you. You walk through the world like you don't care who sees you. I envy that. I sat up. Camila, I do care who sees me. I care all the time. I'm just tired of being scared of it. She looked down. I'm not there yet. I know, I said. And I meant it. But a part of me whispered, will you ever be? Spring came fast in New York. One minute the city was a gray swamp of slush and cold wind, and the next it burst into pink blossoms and sidewalk musicians. Our relationship, whatever name it deserved, started to shift too. We were intimate now. Not just emotionally, but physically. And that brought its own joy. And pressure. We never talked about dating officially. Maybe we were scared that naming it would make it too real or too fragile. But one night, after she fell asleep next to me, hand curled around my wrist like she was afraid I'd disappear, I whispered into the dark, you feel like home. She didn't stir. Didn't answer. Maybe she was asleep. Maybe she wasn't ready to hear it. The storm came in May. It started with a party. Our mutual friend Jaya threw a big queer-friendly end-of-semester rooftop gathering. Rainbow lights, blasting Carly Rae Jepsen, lots of drunk film majors dancing on the edge of emotional breakdowns. Classic. Camila didn't want to go. I don't know anyone there, she said. You know me, I offered. She hesitated. They'll know about us. I nodded. Yeah. And they'll be cool about it. That's the point. She looked away. I'm not ready to be your girlfriend in front of people. That word stung. Like a sliver sliding under my skin. You don't have to be, I said carefully. But could you just be with me? There. In that space. She didn't answer. So I went alone. And for the first time in months, I felt completely, heartbreakingly single. I danced. I smiled. I pretended. Then, around midnight, Camila texted me. I'm sorry. I'm trying. But I'm scared I'll lose everything if I say it out loud. I stared at the words, fingers numb. Then I typed back, slowly. And I'm scared I'll lose myself if I keep hiding. She didn't reply. We didn't speak for 4 days. Not out of anger, exactly. Just exhaustion. Distance. A pause neither of us knew how to fill. On the 5th day, she showed up at my door. Eyes red. Hoodie up. Holding a Polaroid of us at Coney Island from 2 months ago, the one where she's mid-laugh and I'm looking at her like I've forgotten everything else. I don't want to lose this, she said. My voice cracked. Then stop running from it. She stepped inside and shut the door. What followed wasn't dramatic. No fireworks, no shouting. Just a conversation, raw, slow, jagged. I need time, she whispered. I've given you time, I said softly. I'll give you more. But I can't give you myself in pieces forever. She nodded. I'll try. That's all she could promise. That's all I could accept. We set boundaries. Talked more. Loved softer. She came out to Jaya first. Then to our study group. Then, one miraculous, terrifying evening, she told her sister over FaceTime. Her sister cried happy tears. I knew, she said. I was just waiting for you to say it. Camila sobbed in my arms afterward, shaking with the kind of relief that breaks you open. Summer arrived like a reward. We took a trip to Fire Island with friends. Slept in hammocks. Got sunburned. Drank too much sangria. Kissed under stars. One night, while walking the beach barefoot, she stopped and said, "Do you still remember that movie night?" I smiled. How could I forget? I thought that kiss would ruin everything, she said. And instead, she looked at me. It taught me what everything was. Back in the city, something had shifted. Camila walked beside me differently now, less like she was preparing to disappear, more like she belonged in the world, and maybe, finally, beside me. We were still figuring it out. Still not using words like girlfriend or relationship in front of other people, but she no longer hesitated to touch my hand in public. When she introduced me to a friend from her old high school, she said, "This is Eden. She's important to me." It wasn't everything. But it was something. And that something felt like sunlight after a long winter. Then came the email. I was accepted into a summer film residency in Los Angeles, competitive, prestigious, career-changing. 8 weeks, full-time, starting in 2 weeks. Camila's face dropped when I told her. She tried to smile. Failed. "I'm happy for you," she said. "This is what you've been working for." "I want you to come with me," I blurted out, before I could think better. She blinked. "What?" "Come to LA, stay with me. Just for the summer." "Eden. We can figure it out. You can take remote classes. Or just take a break. It'll be good for us." She was quiet. "Don't you want that?" I asked, my voice thin. "I do," she said. "But wanting doesn't always mean I'm ready." We didn't fight. But it felt like one. For the next few days, the space between us grew again. That old tension crept back in, uncertainty, the fear of too much too soon, or maybe too little too late. Then, on the night before I was supposed to leave, Camila showed up at my apartment holding a duffel bag. "I booked a one-way ticket," she said. My mouth dropped open. She stepped inside. "I don't know what I'm doing. But I know I don't want to keep doing it without you." I pulled her into me, heart racing. That night, we didn't sleep. Not just because we didn't want to waste the time, but because for the first time, we were dreaming the same dream. Los Angeles was chaos and glitter and sand in our shoes. I rented a studio apartment in West Hollywood that smelled like weed and old carpet. Camila picked wildflowers from the sidewalk every few days and stuck them in chipped glasses by the window. We weren't tourists. We were builders. Of mornings with cold brew and avocado toast. Of afternoons spent writing scripts in bed. Of late-night walks down Sunset Boulevard, her fingers always tangled in mine. Still, it wasn't always easy. Camila had panic attacks sometimes. The change, the newness, the silence from her parents after she came out to them, they weighed heavy. One night, I found her sitting on the floor of the bathroom, knees to her chest, sobbing silently. "I feel like I don't know who I am without shame," she whispered. I sat down beside her. "Then let's find out who you are with love." She cried harder. I held her tighter. Midway through the residency, I screened a short film I'd been working on, an experimental piece about queer joy. Camila was in it. Not acting, not playing a role. Just existing. Laughing. Dancing. Sleeping on a beach towel with the sun in her curls. When the lights came up, the room was silent. Then, applause. One of the mentors, an older gay director with a harsh reputation, pulled me aside afterward. "Your film isn't brave because it's queer. It's brave because it's tender." I think I floated for the next 2 days. Camila couldn't stop smiling. "You showed the world us. And they loved it." I kissed her then, in front of everyone. No one stared. No one whispered. And even if they had, I wouldn't have cared. But life, being what it is, didn't freeze in LA glow. My dad called. First time in months. "I heard about your film," he said. "Your aunt saw something on Facebook." I braced myself. "She said it was beautiful," he added quietly. I almost dropped the phone. She said, "Your mom would have loved it." My throat tightened. "She would have been proud of you," he said, voice soft. It was the closest he'd ever come to saying "I am proud of you." I clung to it like a child clings to the first warm breeze after winter. Camila held my hand while I cried. We returned to New York in August. Different. We'd been through the heat of change, of exposure, of being seen not just by each other but by the world. Now, we were learning how to live in that truth. She got her own place 5 blocks from mine. She painted the walls lavender and covered them with Polaroids. One of us brushing our teeth together. One of me crying after a screening. One of her in oversized sunglasses flipping off the sun. We didn't spend every night together. We didn't need to. Love, we were learning, wasn't about proximity. It was about presence. Our first anniversary came quietly, on the same weekend as Pride. We didn't go to the parade. We went back to the tiny indie theater where we'd watched The Babadook. It was playing again, ironically. Camila insisted. Halfway through the film, she leaned over and whispered, "I brought popcorn." I smiled. "You don't bite anymore." "Oh, I still bite," she grinned. After the movie, we walked to Washington Square Park. Sat on the edge of the fountain, shoes off, feet in the water. She pulled something from her bag. A notebook. "I wrote something," she said. "But I need you to read it out loud." I opened it. It was a letter. To me. It read. "I used to think love was something that happened to other people. Something I'd admire from afar, like a painting behind glass. But then you came in, all sarcasm and truth and terrifying honesty, and you didn't let me hide. You didn't force me into the light. You sat beside me in the dark until I was ready. And then, that night, the movie, the kiss, the silence afterward, I thought I'd broken something. But really, I had opened a door. Thank you for being the door." I looked up at her. She was crying. So was I. We didn't need vows. We had that. Now, whenever people ask how we got together, Camila always laughs. She thought it was just a regular movie night, she says. And I always finish the sentence for her. But that kiss changed us forever. Fall came in golds and reds. Camila started wearing scarves again. She had this thing about autumn being the season of soft reboots. I joked that every September she acted like a new Netflix miniseries. She didn't deny it. Our lives were full, finally full of choices, full of work, full of love. We were no longer clinging to each other out of fear but leaning in because we wanted to. And yet, with that comfort came new questions. Camila was applying to grad school in Chicago. I had just been offered a junior producing job on an indie feature filming in Portland. It was the kind of fork in the road we used to panic about. But this time, we talked. Really talked. Do we do long distance? I asked one night, lying with her on the living room floor, the city humming outside our window. We could, she said. If it's temporary. I think it would make us stronger. She turned to me, brushing a strand of hair from my face. Do you still feel it? The thing between us? I stared at her. Every day, I said. Even when I'm annoyed at how you never replace the toilet paper roll. She grinned. That's love. 2 weeks before she moved to Chicago, we made a list of everything we wanted to do before our time apart. Watch the sunrise at Coney Island. Eat pancakes at midnight. Recreate our first movie night. Record voice memos for each other to play when we miss one another. Say it, finally say it. We did them all. Even the last one, which terrified her more than all the others combined. It was after the movie night, same couch, same film, The Babadook again, because apparently we're cursed to make it our milestone film. She turned to me just before the credits rolled. I love you, she said. 3 words. No fear. No hesitation. Not whispered. Not masked by laughter. Clear. True. It took me a second to breathe. Then I said, I love you more than I have words for. We didn't cry. We kissed, slow and certain. Like we were planting something for the future. When she left for Chicago, I went with her to the airport. She wore the same hoodie from that rainy night almost 2 years ago, and I suddenly remembered how different we had been then, how fragile it all had felt. Now we stood taller. Not unafraid. But no longer hiding. She pulled me into a hug and said, you know, I used to think that kiss ruined our friendship. And now? She kissed my forehead. Now I know it built something better. Long distance wasn't easy. There were dropped calls, missed flights, time zones that messed with sleep and sanity. But we adapted. Video dates. Care packages. Letters, actual handwritten letters that she sprayed with her perfume and decorated with little doodles of bats and plants and cartoonish versions of me. I sent her short films I was producing. She sent me her poetry. She started submitting her work to queer literary journals. 2 got accepted. I printed one of her pieces and pinned it above my desk. The last stanza read. I kissed her in the flicker of film light. Thinking it would cost me everything. But what I lost was the lie that I'd ever been whole before her. A year passed. Then 2. Eventually, she moved back to New York. I met her at the train station, flowers in hand, heart thumping. She stepped onto the platform, 2 bags and a smile that could stop clocks. We didn't run into each other's arms. We just walked toward each other like we'd never been apart, like gravity was doing the work. I'm home, she said. I kissed her. So am I. Now we live in a tiny brownstone apartment in Brooklyn with uneven floors and too many plants. Camila teaches creative writing at a community college. I'm working on my first full-length feature film based, of course, on a girl who thought movie night would be uneventful. We still go to that same theater once a month. Always bring our own snacks. Always sit in the same row. Sometimes we talk during the trailers, sometimes we don't. One night, years later, a girl a few rows ahead leaned over and kissed the friend beside her. They both blushed, as if unsure what it meant. Camila leaned toward me and whispered, "That was us." I smiled. Still is. People ask us all the time, when did you know? Camila always answers first. I knew when I ran away and missed her the entire time. I say, I knew when she came back. But the truth is, we're still discovering it, this love, this story, this unexpected lifetime that started in the flicker of a horror film. Some people find love in fireworks. Ours came in shadows and rain, silence and soft confessions. It wasn't perfect. It was real. And for all the fear, all the hiding, all the running and pausing and trying again, I wouldn't change a single frame. Because I thought it was just a regular movie night. But that kiss changed everything. And in the most beautiful way. We never went back. The end. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.